Hi viewers, this is Karunakar lecturer in botany. Today we are going to discuss about general characters of fungi. You see the fungi. What is fungi? Alcophilous and heterotrophic, eukaryotic and spore-bearing organisms. The plant body consists mostly of the thallus made up of hyphae which together constitute the mycelium. The study of fungi is known as mycology, and the scientist who is concerned with fungi is called as mycologist. The systematic study of fungi began with the work of Antonio Michelini, an Italian botanist. He is popularly known as the father of mycology. You see the structure of fungi. The vegetative body of a fungus is thalloid, that is, it is not differentiated into root, stem, and leaves. On the basis of thallus, fungi can be divided into two broad categories: unicellular fungi and mycelial fungi. You see, first one, non mycelial unicellular fungi. In a large number of simple fungi, the thallus is made up of a single microscopic cell ranging from a few to a few hundred microns in size. The cell may be spherical, ellipsoidal, tubular, or irregular in shape. In some fungi, the entire thallus becomes transformed on maturity into a single reproductive structure or into several reproductive structures. The example of the former is Olympidium and of the latter is uh, Syncytium. In holocarpic forms, therefore, the somatic and reproductive structures do not exist together at the time. And if you see the second one, uh, then this picture shows holocarpic monocentric thallus of Olympidium species, and in down phenotypic coinocytic mycelium is there and septate mycelium. Both are two differentiate is there, septate and non-septate. And if you see second one, mycelial fungi. In most of the fungi, thallus is made up of thin-walled, transparent branched or unbranched tubular filaments called hyphae. The next work of hyphae constituting the body of fungus is called mycelium. The mycelial fungi are commonly referred to as molds by microbiologists. The hyphae of most of the fungi are 5 to 10 micrometers in diameter. You see this diagram, dolipore and simple pore. In a large number of fungi, the vigorously growing hyphae are divided by transverse walls or septa to form uninucleate or multinucleate cells, and hyphae are called septate. But in many fungi, hyphae do not develop cross walls. Such hyphae are called non-septate. Many nuclei are present in the common mass of cytoplasm. Such condition is called coinocytic. In some fungi, the septum show a simple pore in the center through which the protoplasmic constituency is maintained between the cells. The septum is called simple pore septum. If you see the ultrastructure of fungi cell in diagram, it shows fungal cells are typically eukaryotic and lack chloroplast. The thallus is fungi is enclosed by a rigid cell wall which expand continuously during growth. Chemically, the cell wall is made up of 80 to 90% of polysaccharides along with the proteins, lipids, and inorganic ions. Physically, the fungal cell wall is composed of interwoven microfibrils of cellulose and chitin. See the chitin characteristically present in the cell wall of most fungi, including Oomycetes, a group in which chitin was thought to be absent a few years ago. In most true yeast, the skeleton part of cell wall is composed of non-cellulosic mannum glucan complex. You see, the chitin is a linear polymer of N-acetyl B-glucosamine units linked by B14 glycosidic bonds N-acetyl, and glucosamine is also present in the bacterial cell walls along with N-acetyl numeric acid. You see, nutrition of fungus. Fungi are heterotrophs as they are dependent on external supply of food material. Fungi are usually grouped into the following three categories on the basis of their modes of nutrition. You see, first one, parasites. These fungi obtain their nourishment from other living plants or animals. Some of the some of them can live only on living protoplasm and they are known as obligate parasites. These cannot be grown in culture medium in laboratory. However, in recent years, some of the so called obligate parasites have been cultured in the laboratory. Now, these organisms are called biotrophs. On the other hand, there are some parasites that can grow on dead organic matter in the absence of living host. They are called as facultative saprophytes. Example, Euslago and Toliposporium. Uh, and then parasites may be ectoparasites when they live on the external surface of the host, or endoparasites when they live inside the host. The endoparasites are either intercellular or intracellular. Ectoparasites and intracellular parasites produce specialized absorbing organs called ostoria. Ostoria may be knob-like and elongated or branched. When the ostoриum penetrates the host cell, it does not puncture the host plasma membrane but invaginates it. The fungal wall around the ostoриum remains intact and it is completely enveloped by an extension of host cell. The chief function of ostoриum is to increase the absorptive area of the parasite. Then, if you see how to Astoria enter into cell, intracellular and intercellular, this picture shows. And if you see, second one is saprophytes. These fungi obtain their nutrition from dead decaying organic matter. The hyphae of saprophytic fungi secrete extracellular enzymes into the substratum and digest the complex food materials into soluble form. Then the food is absorbed by diffusion through the hyphal walls. Some saprophytes such as Mucar, Rhizopus can obtain their nutrition only from the dead organic matter and they do not have the capacity to infect living organisms. They are known as obligate saprophytes. Then, on the other hand, some saprophytic fungi have the capacity to infect living organisms. They are known as facultative parasites. The saprophytic fungi are indispensable for the maintenance of the carbon and mineral cycles in nature. They are particularly important in the degradation of cellulose, which forms the bulk of decomposing plant material. And then you see symbionts, a wide variety of fungi appear to be unable to live as saprophyte or as parasite. Such fungi grow on their living organisms as symbionts. Such an association is known as symbiosis. Lichens and mycorrhiza are common example of symbionts. The lichens are composite organisms composed of fungi and algae, each contributing to the other's benefit. The algae synthesize carbohydrates by photosynthesis and other nutrients and supply to the fungus. The fungi in turn provide protection from intense sunlight and desiccation. This will enable them to survive under hostile circumstances. Some consider this relationship as symbiosis and as balanced parasitism by others. A number of facultative parasites form a mantle of the thin filament around the roots of higher plants. Such an association is known as mycorrhiza. It is believed that both the fungus and the host benefit from this relationship. The fungus absorbs water and nutrients from the soil and transfer them to the tree, which lacks root hairs. The tree provides nutrition to the fungus in return. There is another view that the fungus is always a parasitic and destroy the rootlets it has invaded. The mycorrhiza are of three types: ectomycorrhiza and endomycorrhiza and ectoendomycorrhiza. This is shows in this diagram. In ectomycorrhiza, the rootlets are completely surrounded by a distinct mantle or sheath of fungal tissue, example pinus. In endomycorrhiza, there is no such well developed mantle. The fungus may be intercellular or intracellular, example orchids. And the fungus associated with ectotropic mycorrhiza belong mainly to Basidiomycotina, especially Hymenomycetes and Gastromycetes, example Amantia, and the fungi that form endotropic mycorrhiza with orchids are all members of Basidiomycotina, example. Then growth. If you see the growth, the mycelium begins life as a germ tube. When the spore germinates, the fungal hyphae and sporangiophores grow apically, and this is called primary growth. And if you see the modifications of mycelium, there is plenty of modifications are there. Plectenchyma make up various types of somatic and reproductive structures. They include stromata and sclerotia and rhizophora, rhizomorphs. These are the main modifications of mycelium. You see, so stromata is a compact mass of tissue made up of plectonchyma. It looks like a matters or a cushion-like structure, and reproductive bodies are formed embedded in the cushion. Example, Sordaria and Sclerotia. In higher fungi, the mycelium forms compact and hard bodies called sclerotia. They range in size from less than a millimeter to more than 20 centimeters. They are generally black or purple in color and of various shapes. They serve as resting bodies to overcome adverse environment. On germination, these form stroma bearing reproductive structures or directly give rise to the mycelium. Anatomically, the sclerotia show an outer rind made up of thick walled, closely septate, fused hyphae and an inner medulla consisting of hyphae with comparatively thinner walls, and rhizomorphs in many root invading or wood destroying fungi. Hyphae are segregated longitudinally to form root like structures called rhizomorphs. They are made up of thick strands of somatic hyphae in which the hyphae have lost their individuality and the whole mass behaves as an organized unit. The rhizome are best studied is that of Armillaria malia. It is made up of several thousand unbranched parallel hyphae which grow in a coordinated manner. The apex of the rhizome are consisting of interwoven hyphae which become denser at its core and are enclosed in a mantle of loose hyphae about 5 to 10 behind the apex. You see the reproduction of fungi. Reproduction is the formation of a new progeny by either vegetative, asexual, or sexual means. If you see the vegetative reproduction, it is affected by fragmentation, fusion, budding, idea, and chlamydospores. If you see the fragmentation, the fungal hyphae break into small pieces, and each piece may later on grow into a new mycelium. This method is commonly used in the laboratory for propagation of mycelial fungi in the culture media and fission. It is a common method of reproduction in yeast. Here, the cell divides into two daughter cells which separate by construction or transverse wall. And third one is budding. Yeast is the best example for budding. Budding may also take place in ascospores and basidiospores of many fungi. A small outgrowth, the bud emerges from the parent cell. The nucleus divides into two. One of the daughter nuclei passes into the bud. The bud grows in size while it is still attached to the parent cell. The bud ultimately becomes separated from the parent cell. Sometimes daughter bud does not separate and produces another bud in the same manner, and this process may be repeated several times. This results in the formation of a chain of buds that appear like a mycelium and can be called pseudomycelium. And fourth one is idea. It is called as arthrospores. In some fungi, the vegetative hyphae are divided by uh, recanceptation into a number of spores. The spores may be cylindrical or cask shaped or egg shaped. The septa are double and separate easily so that the adjacent spores become free radially. And another one is chlamydospores. A chlamydospore is an asexual spore with thick walls and meant for perennation. The terminal or intercalary hypal cells become covered by thick walls and behave as chlamydospores. They possess an inner secondary wall, usually impregnated with hydrophobic material. Many fungi, particularly in old cultures, are under unfavorable conditions of temperature and moisture or exhaustion of food supply, form chlamydospores. The term chlamydospores is also applied to the thick-walled dikaryotic spores, characteristic of smart fungi, example Eustachium. And if you see the asexual reproduction occurs usually under favorable conditions and several generations may be produces in one season. Yeah. It takes place by reproduction of numerous number of spores which are mm, liberated from the parent thallus, possibly or by active discharge. The spores are dispersed by wind or by water, insects, and other animals. Asexual spores are of three main types. These are zoospores, sporangiospores, and conidia. You see, zoospores, the flagellated spores are called zoospores. They are characteristics of lower fungi. They develop in a sac-like structure called zoosporangium. And another one is sporangiophores, the non-motile asexual spores that develop in a sac like sporangium are called sporangiospores or apnenospores. The sporangia are formed at the tips of special hyphae called sporangiophores. The spores are usually multinucleate. These are released by the breakdown of the sporangium wall. These spores are either dispersed by wind, rain, insects, or other animals. The sporangiospores are characteristic of class Zygomycetes, example Rhizopus and Mucor. And another one is conidiospores. It is called as conidia also. Conidiospores, commonly known as conidia, and as asexual reproduction structures. They are produced mainly in Eutromycotina and also in Ascomycotina and a few Basidiomycotina. The term conidium has been used in different ways, but the uh, precise definition is the conidium as a specialized non-motile asexual propagule, usually candaceous, not developing by cytoplasmic cleavage or by free cell formation. Conidia arise directly from the tip of somatic hyphae or from specialized conidiogenous cells that are born on special hyphal branches known as conidiospores. The conidiophores may arise singly from the somatic hyphae or may be grouped together to form fascicles. And another one is these are divided into types. Yeah. Conidiospores may be organized into uh, fruiting bodies of various kinds like Pycnidia and Acerulae and Cinnamata or Sporodokia. Uh, Cinnama, you see the conidiospores are united at the base and become free at the top. At the top of these conidiophores, conidia develop example graphium and acerulus. Many short conidiospores arise from a cushion-like flat mass of hyphae. These conidiophores remain closely packed together, usually subepidermally, and come out as an uh, European bed-like mass of hyphae. The acerulae are neither surrounded by any hyphal wall nor do they possess any definite ostiole. And third one is Sporodochium. It is an acerulus-like fruiting body which the compact mass of conidiophores develop on a cushion-like mass, hyphae or stroma. And Pycnidium. It is a globose or flask-shaped body containing many conidiospores lined on its inner side. It usually contains a mouth-like opening or ostiole on its papillate apex, example Phoma and Septoria. And if you see sexual fruiting bodies are ascocarps of ascomycetes are mainly of three types. They are apothecium and perithecium and clistothecium. Apothecium, it is a disc, cup or saucer shaped ascocarp with hymenium on the upper surface, and perithecium it is spherical or flask-like body. The perithecium is covered by a peridium except at ostiole. The discharge of ascospores takes place through this narrow opening called the ostiole. The asci are found on the ascogenous hyphae present in the round bottom of the perithecium. And if you see clistothecium, it is a closely body Actually, this is a perithecium without an osteole. The asci are filled up in their closed bodies. The ascospores are liberated only when the walls of the clistothecium disintegrate or rupture. Distinct hymeneal layers may not be present. Conidia may be spherical, ovoid, elongated, cylindrical, thread-like, and spirally curved or star-shaped. They may be unicellular or multicellular with transverse, long, and longitudinal septa. You see the sexual reproduction, with the exception of subdivision Deuteromycotina, sexual reproduction occurs in all groups of fungi. The process of sexual reproduction is completely in three distinct phases: plasmogamy, karyogamy, and meiosis. Yeah. If you see plasmogamy is the fusion of two sexual cells or gametes, a process which results in coming together of compatible sexual differentiated nuclei in a single protoplast. If you see karyogamy, this is the fusion of two nuclei which results in the production of a diploid zygotic nucleus. Lower fungi, karyogamy follows plasmogamy immediately, but in higher fungi, karyogamy is delayed so that the two nuclei are present in a cell. This is called dichorion. These two nuclei divide by conjugate division so that dikaryotic condition is established in the mycelium. This is known as dicaryotization, and the dikaryotic mycelium is called secondary mycelium. The two compatible nuclei eventually fuse in asci or basidia. In Basidiomycotina, the dikaryophase has further extended through dikaryotic spores like Achiospores, Euodinospores, and Teltospores. See, and meiosis. If you see the meiosis after karyogamy, the diploid nuclei in the zygote undergo meiosis and applied stages is re-established. In most fungi, the thallus is applied and the diploid condition is confined to a single cell called the zygote. There are some exceptions where the diploid nuclei undergoes mitosis, forming a diploid phase in the life cycle. Here, the after meiosis, the planogametic copulation happened. The motile gametes are called planogametes. Primitive fungi reproduce by planogametic copulation. When the gametes are morphologically similar, their fusion is called isogamy. When the planogametes are distinguished by their size as male as female gametes, their fusion is called anisogamy. When the male gametes are flagellated and motile and the female gamete is non-motile, their fusion is called oogamy. And gametangial contact. In some fungi, the two gametangia come together. The male gametangia are called antheridia and the female gametangia are called hugonia or ascogonia. The gametes are represented by undifferentiated protoplast of the sex organs. The male nuclei may either into oogonium either through the pore at the point of contact or by means of fertilization tube. The fertilization egg is known as oospore. Example: albugo. And gametangial copulation. In this method, the entire contents of gametangia fuse and the gametangia lose their identity. The gametangial walls dissolve and the protoplasts of opposite gametangia fuse. The common cell thus formed by the union develops a thick wall and the whole structure is known as zygospore. Example, muca. And spermatization, some fungi bear numerous uninucleate spores like male structures called spermatia. These are carried by insects, wind, or water to the female gametangia or to special respective hyphae or even to somatic hyphae. A pore develops at the point of contact and the contents of the spermatia pass into the particular respective receptive structure which serves as the female organ. Example, Puccinia. And fifth one is somatogamy. Here, sex organs are not produced but two somatic cells fuse together, bringing in dikaryotic conidia condition. And sporocarps are there. Any fruit body with produces spores is called sporocarp or fruitification. Majority of Asco and Basidiomycotina members produce fruit bodies of various sizes and shapes. Fruit bodies are not produced by aquatic fungi because water provides a supporting medium and the juice spores are well adapted to dispersal by water. The Asco and Basidiomycotina members, on the other hand, grow in terrestrial habitats. Their spore bearing structures have to rise above the substratum for efficient liberation and dispersal of spores. Also, the spores have to be protected from desiccation in these fungi. The sexual fruiting bodies, Acerula and Pycnidium and Sporodokia are formed. This is the fungi life cycle.